So today we are here at day 1, and I will go to the next slide, and we will see what we are going to discuss today, what we are going to see in day 1. So day 1 is building the foundation. Building the foundation of what? Of the subject of concrete. Now I have very carefully designed this presentation. It is also for a beginner and also for an expert. Very difficult thing to do that, but I have tried to do that so that even if you are a beginner, not beginner in the sense uh, that you are just passed out engineering, maybe you have just passed out engineering, but anyone for whom concrete is a new subject. Maybe you have worked in the field for 20-25 years, but you have done project management, so concrete technology can be a new subject for you. Or you are really a fresh pass out or just passing out from an engineering college, concrete is a new subject. So for these beginner category, as well as people who are working on the field, working with concrete, and they are also going to find it very interesting. Okay, so today we are going to build the foundation for concrete for us. That is in the first part. So in this typically 90-minute session, 45 minutes I will discuss about part 1, 20-30 minutes I will discuss about part 2. What is part 2? So for me, anyone becoming a specialist, for what? End of the day, it is about your career, it is about your growth. And if I cannot link your knowledge with your career growth, it is useless, right? We study something, okay, for gain of knowledge, okay, I agree, but finally we should be able to grow our career. How to do that? That is our part 2, secrets for a breakthrough career. Is there a formula? Yes, we will see that formula. This word breakthrough means what? I'm sure all of you know. So, breakthrough is when we are walking in a normal path and we want to reach some goal, but then we get some sudden important insight which takes us very quickly to our goal. We get a breakthrough. In scientist community, it is always discussed this word breakthrough discovery. So some scientist is working on something for many years, and then he is not able to invent a particular product, but suddenly he gets some breakthrough one fine morning. So breakthrough happens in 1 second, right? But the efforts are there for years behind that, for that breakthrough to happen. So I spent a lot of time. Now I'm 53 years of age, learning all these things, and I felt that this formula which I'm going to share with you, you will not find anywhere because I have discovered it, right? So I will share that with you, how you can create a breakthrough in your career wherever you are. So you are a beginner, still you can achieve that breakthrough and move rapidly at a higher level. You are already at higher level, you want to become CEO of your company. Again, you can use this formula. You can become a CEO of your company, right? But anyway, let's talk about that when we reach that point, not now. Tomorrow, we are going to see properties of concrete, right? So today we are building foundation, ingredients of concrete, what are the various materials today. Tomorrow, properties of concrete. Now all the experts, so many experts are there here today with us, and there are many my friends who are working as a quality control engineer in a batching plant on a site. They are doing their mixed designs every day, but unfortunately all our knowledge stops at compressive strength. Okay, now my question is coming to you. So my question is coming to you. So you have to tell me one property of concrete, okay, after the compressive strength. Let me see if you know. Any one property you can give. So for example, I'm in a batching plant, I'm mixing the material, I'm preparing concrete, I check the slump, we know slump, I check compaction factor, maybe I check flow if it is self-compacting concrete. The concrete goes to the side, I cast the cubes, right? And I check the compressive strength. Okay, after compressive strength, after your concrete has set, what can be other properties of concrete which as a concrete specialist you should know? So please tell me, please just type one word which you know. कॉम्प्रेसिव स्ट्रेंथ के बाद कौन सी प्रॉपर्टीज है जो कंक्रीट की जो हमें चेक करनी चाहिए? Okay, durability is a aspect, durability is aspect. How you will check it? Split tensile, okay. वर्केबिलिटी इज बिफोर, राइट? कंक्रीट सेट होने से पहले वर्केबिलिटी है, मैं बाद में पूछ रहा हूं आफ्टर द कंक्रीट हैज सेट. ड्यूरेबिलिटी, हाउ यू विल मेजर? व्हाट इज द टेस्ट फॉर ड्यूरेबिलिटी? What is the test for durability? Split tensile, yes, great, thank you. What other properties are there? Come on, type. What are the other properties of concrete? So we will see all these few other properties of concrete which are very, very important according to me, but you will not find any webinar. Density Vaibhav is still okay. We do it at the time of cube testing. Fine, we also get density. Okay, Vaibhav, but density. What else? What else? NDT, Hemanta ji, okay. RCPT, lovely. Ravi, thanks a lot for that answer. RCPT, yes. Few others are also. Sanjay Karna has also given that answer. Vaibhav is also saying about that. Porosity, yes, Ravi. ISAT. So, yes, but the properties which I will discuss tomorrow, permeability, Yogesh, thanks, but the properties which I will discuss are not the ones which you will find anywhere. They are very important properties, and if you want to be a concrete specialist, you need to know about them, right? So we will discuss about them tomorrow. So then part 2 tomorrow, part 2. So part 1 is these other properties of concrete, fine, right? Part 2 tomorrow is building your knowledge. So today you will begin your journey, right? Your career growth, the breakthrough in career growth, that is today. Tomorrow, how you will build your knowledge, what is the way? So there are two ways of building the knowledge. Were you aware of that? One is called scaffolding method. So we'll see what is a scaffolding method, and we will also see the solution problem method. So normally there is a problem solution method. You have a problem, right? How to make a pumped concrete, and then you find the solution. That is problem solution. This is the other method, solution problem, but we'll discuss about it tomorrow. So that is tomorrow, part 2. And third day is the future of concrete. So you have understood the properties of concrete, but what is in the future? Next 5 to 10 years, all of us have to prepare ourselves for that future if you want to be discovered as an expert. So we will discuss on day 3, future of concrete and what is missing in the concrete today. Think about it. You have 2 more days. What is missing in the concrete today, which we need to understand, which is going to be there in the concrete maybe after 5 years? That will define the future of concrete for us. I will also discuss with you study plan. You know, this is your long journey working on to become a concrete expert, and how you should approach this subject slowly every day, 30 minutes, 1 hour, how you can. But the problem is the difference between the good and the great, the good and the best. We will discuss all that, how good can become an enemy. So once we know we are good, we stop growing. Once I know concrete mix design, chalo, I know everything. So you need to grow, and you need to have a plan for that. I will share that with you. Okay, let's go ahead. So you are spending 3 days, 3 hours, you know, average 1 hour a day or 1.5 hours a day. So 3 to 5 hours you are spending here with me. So what is my promise, my commitment to you? So my commitment to you is after these 3 days, you would definitely have upgraded your knowledge. You would have understood a great formula, hack we call, na? Everything hack. So a career hack, and probably your life. So that is my commitment, you know, because impossible is nothing. The great Nike ad, which I like and which I'm just using here. Okay, let's go ahead. So when we look at next 5 years and we see that the year 2021 has just ended in, and how much cement we have consumed? We have consumed 350 million tons of cement is consumed in India this year. So huge quantity, right? 350 million tons. But the growth is going to be so phenomenal all over the world, particularly in India, because we have to still catch up. You know, China is still 20 years ahead of us. So we have to catch up with so much development. The plans are there, and just by year 2025 the cement consumption is going to be twice, right? So when the cement consumption increases, around 50% goes of the total cement straight away into concrete. So my second question to you, when you are a concrete specialist, normally we focus only on concrete, right? RMC concrete particularly. There is so many other things. Okay, site mix concrete is also there, but there are so many other uses of cement where you need a concrete specialist. So whenever you will look at the subject of concrete, you have to also keep in mind about your own career and slightly link these two things. So there is so much rush of all the concrete experts in RMC, but there are many other fields. Which are other fields? Where else the cement is used? If you can think of it, the major industries where cement is being used, only 50% goes in ready mix concrete. The remaining 50% over next 5 years is going to go in various other applications, and you have to chase these applications. Like apart from our concrete, hardcore concrete design, there are number of great crushing plants are going to come, and they all are going to need very qualified, knowledgeable concrete experts to design their aggregates. There are AAC block companies like ours, and they all need concrete experts to sell, design, and sell their product. Yes, Sanjay Singh block making industry. Uh, the admixture industry itself, yes, precast as well. The admixture industry itself is so huge that they need concrete experts. You know, all our pozzolanic materials, cementatious materials. So every fly ash company, uh, GGBFS supplier, microsilica, all these industries are going to grow along with our cement. So cement is on one side, but all these other industries are also going to grow. Ready mix plaster is going to be a next big thing. So we will try to cover few of these things in our session tomorrow. Friends, there is a great market on one side, but on the other hand, if you look at the new civil engineers which enter every day, every year in India, I'm talking, it's a huge number. Do you know how many engineering seats are there in India, in civil, in engineering colleges for civil engineering? Only for civil engineering 22 lakh seats are there in our country. And you must have read the news just yesterday that till year 2024, no new colleges would be given permission, because out of these 22 lakh civil engineering seats, half of them are empty. So actually, how many civil engineers come out? 11 lakh civil engineers come out. But not everyone goes in a proper fully civil engineering profession. So this number goes on reducing, and it is expected that in June 4 lakh civil engineers will enter the market. So this is a huge number, right? This is a huge number. But if you see, the requirement of new civil engineers in India is more than that, 8 lakh. Now all of them are not going to get top class jobs, but certain jobs are required where you need a high skill, and the salary compensation would be also in the similar way. So gear up for year 22, 23, 24, and 25. Cement consumption is going to go up, the demand for civil engineers will go up, but only if you have the proper skill, and if you can prove to the world that you have a proper skill, right? So please, yes, no good jobs available. I will show you how to make yourself available for the great job which is out there. And this whole thing, getting concrete expertise and showing to the world that you are a concrete expert, because my 3 days are not only about concrete, they are about you, about your career. As I said, maybe you are at a beginning stage of your career, or maybe you are a very senior manager, but these 3 days are for you and for your career. And therefore I feel that this webinar is not only a technical webinar, this is a techno career webinar. Let's see. So friends, the starting point for you to become a concrete expert has to begin with our cement, right? Because if there is no cement, there is no concrete. And you can have any kind of recycled aggregates, this, that. At least till now, you need cement. And the starting point for cement is our cement chemistry, which is so boring. But I challenge you, after today, you will never ever forget cement chemistry. Even if रात को 2 बजे भी कोई आपको उठाता है at 2 o'clock and asks you about cement chemistry, you'll give answers like this. And these are the two important slides, this slide and the one coming after that. So although I might spend more time on these two slides, but ensure that you will know it fully. So cement is a compound in which there are four brothers staying. If you understand these four brothers, you will fully understand the complete concrete chemistry. The first brother is the strong brother, tricalcium silicate. The second brother has a lot of stamina. He can stay and work for a long time, which is dicalcium silicate. The third brother is an angry young man, tetracalcium, tricalcium aluminate. And the fourth one is the quiet boy, tetracalcium aluminoferrite. Now, when these three brothers they participate in our hydration, in our concrete, each one plays a different role. So the first brother I said you can see is C3S, tricalcium silicate. So in cement chemistry, everything, slide is a bit blurry, sorry for that, but I can't do much now. Let me try to go full slide. So I remove my face. Probably you can see now. So the first brother is tricalcium silicate, tricalcium silicate. Okay, remember these words, C3S. So in cement chemistry, everything is further shrunk down so that Mr. Bosle is asking how many civil engineers are there. Okay, we'll take the questions in the end. Anu, please note all these questions, interesting questions. Tricalcium silicate. So imagine we are all standing on a construction site. Okay, are you able to imagine that? हम लोग साइड के ऊपर खड़े हैं. हमारे सामने एक transit mixer is rotating. Transit mixer is, there is a mixer which is rotating. And now, allow me to come in the picture for a short time. And there is a mixer rotating, okay, and now you are putting all the raw material inside. You are putting the raw material in your mixer. What you have put? क्या डाला आपने? Cement, sand, aggregates, water, maybe admixture. Okay, you have put inside. Your mixer is rotating. Okay, so the on the left hand side of this equal to sign, you see C3S plus 6H. H is what? Water. आप बोलोगे अरे water तो H2O है ना, but in cement chemistry everything is further condensed. So H2O is what? H. So you are adding water, you are adding cement. Cement is denoted by C3S and C2S, first and second equation. So you have put this raw material and the equal to sign is your mixer. So the mixer is rotating. The mixer is rotating. And what you get out on the right hand side of your equal to sign is your concrete. Clear? On the right hand side is your concrete which is coming out. On left hand side, cement plus water, mixer, and you get concrete. And what you get in concrete? Early CSH gel. आपने सबने सुना होगा, all of you must have heard about this early CSH gel. So what is this? This is just in our concrete, the cement paste. The cement paste, the cement gets water, it hydrates, and it forms this gel. So it is called gel, GEL. Why we call it gel? Because if you take it and look under the microscope, the structure is like a gel. Why we call it early? Because it gives you your early strength, your de-shuttering after 24 hours, your 3-day strength, your 7-day strength, the speed of construction, everything depends on the early CSH gel. The more early CSH gel you have, the faster will be your construction. The second equation, dicalcium silicate. Okay, it mixes with water, mixing, comes out in your concrete. We call it CSH gel, but delayed CSH gel. Why we call it delayed CSH gel? Because the formation is slightly slower. The formation starts on 3rd day and completes on 28 days. That is why we check the 28-day strength of our concrete. right? So 3-day and 7-day strength comes from early CSH gel. 28-day strength comes from delayed CSH gel. Both these gels depend on what? C3S, C2S. C3S, C2S. C3S, C3, one molecule of calcium extra. Remember, C3S, one molecule of calcium more. C2S, one molecule of calcium less. Calcium is giving us strength, right? So higher the amount of calcium, higher the early CSH gel, higher your strength gain. The lower the amount of calcium molecules, lower. Now these both are the brothers in your cement. Tricalcium silicate and dicalcium, they are part of your cement. But my friends, 50 years ago, the cement which we are using and the cement which we are using which grade? 53 grade cement, right? So it has got this proportion between calcium and silica has changed. Today, the calcium content is 65% and the S silica content is 35%. But if you go to 50 years ago, OPC 43, uske pehle 33, in 33 grade, the proportion was exactly opposite. Calcium was less and SiO2, silicon dioxide, was more. But what happened because of that? There was too much delayed CSH and second equation was very strong. But the construction industry said, no, 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 we want to have higher strengths earlier. We want to do our decentering quickly. We want to do the speed of construction fast. So, over the period of 50 years, all over the world, these changes were done in the cement. So uh, you had low C3A, and now you have very high C3S. So C3S content has gone up and C2S content has gone down. The third brother which we saw, I said angry young man, tricalcium aluminate, is in a small quantity in our cement. So just like the way C3S works, even C3A also works in the same way. But let's not confuse. Our job is what today? Our job is to remember everything when you go back from here. I'll show you hundreds of slides, no use. Just remember this slide. Remember tricalcium silicate. Remember dicalcium silicate. Remember that early strength comes from tricalcium silicate, delayed strength comes from dicalcium silicate. But the hero of my presentation is going to do its entry now. हिंदी पिक्चर में रहता है ना, हीरो थोड़ा बाद में एंट्री लेता है, right? So the hero of my presentation after 30 minutes, it's 6:30 now, is going to take his entry now. And this hero is this red thing which you see, 3CH, which is calcium hydroxide. So this calcium hydroxide, I have shown in red because it is a problem in our concrete. Why it is a problem in our concrete? Because it dissolves in water easily. It leaches out through your plaster, through your retaining walls. You want to see this calcium hydroxide with your own eyes? Go and see any plaster, freshly done plaster, and you will find white patches are there on the plaster. So this calcium hydroxide leaches out and leaves voids in our concrete. So how many voids are there? You see CH is 25%. So out of your total cement paste hydration, total CSH hydrated gel, 75% is good CSH gel, 25% is calcium hydroxide. This calcium hydroxide leaches out over a period of time, from rainwater, from your curing water, even humidity present in atmosphere. It leaches out and which leaves pores inside our concrete. So, if you will note very carefully, the first equation, tricalcium silicate, gives you very high strength, but along with that, it is giving you 3 molecules of calcium hydroxide. And the second equation, dicalcium silicate, gives you only 1 molecule of calcium hydroxide. So a slightly slow setting of your cement, the delayed CSH gel actually gives you durability of the concrete because it is creating less amount of this side effect called calcium hydroxide. We will look at calcium hydroxide in more detail and we will see the amount of issue that it creates in our concrete. So Allow me to go to the next slide for a moment. This calcium hydroxide, what all it does? So the first one we saw is porous concrete. It makes our concrete porous. So as I said, the calcium hydroxide dissolves in water, leaches out. The second is carbon dioxide present in our atmosphere. This carbon dioxide directly reacts with calcium hydroxide, forms calcium carbonate, and it reduces the alkalinity of our concrete. This means what? Attack of environmental agents on our steel. Chloride ion attack. So any coastal city, we have lot of chlorides in our groundwater, right? uh, these chlorides, because there is salt in sea. Salt in sea means what? Sodium chloride, NaCl. That Cl, that chloride, that comes in your water, that comes in your atmosphere, and then it attacks our concrete, uh, causing corrosion of reinforcement. Sulfate attack. Okay, you are not in a coastal city, but probably you are in some rural India where the groundwater has lot of sulfates in it. These sulfates attack again calcium hydroxide and forms ettringite, which is huge, bulky in volume, creates cracking in foundation. And finally, the heat of hydration. The more tricalcium silicate, the faster the strength, but more the heat of hydration. So calcium hydroxide is also in a way linked to it. So the question was, with all these issues, what was the solution that was to our problem? And as I said, our hero does entry, and I compare this calcium hydroxide with our mythological character Arjuna. आप सबको तो पता है महाभारत का युद्ध चल रहा था. There was war of Mahabharata happening, and there was Arjuna, the great warrior, fighting in that war. But the problem was what happened right at the time of the war. He saw that in his enemies, his uncles, brothers, and friends, and he said, I'm not going to fight this war. Now, the same confusion comes in the mind of our calcium hydroxide. It has got calcium in it, right? So, it has got the basic substance required for strength. Tricalcium silicate, look at him. Dicalcium silicate, look at him. So, it's got basic substance present in him, calcium. But right at the time of the war, this calcium hydroxide starts correlating with his enemies, as we saw with carbon dioxide, with chlorides, with sulfates, with moisture. He starts correlating with everyone, and it destroys our concrete. This calcium hydroxide, it destroys our concrete. So the basic substance is there. It has got calcium in it. Friends, we all know calcium is required for strength, right? In our teeth, there is calcium. In our bones, there is calcium. In our cement, there is calcium, 65% calcium oxide. So it has got calcium in it. But the problem is, whenever there is excess, there is problem. This is the law of nature, right? So we increase the proportion of calcium oxide so much in our concrete that we started getting this side effect. We all know, if we use too much chemical fertilizer, then the soil loses its ability. सेम है, हम ज्यादा एलोपैथिक मेडिसिन लेते हैं स्ट्रॉन्ग, तो कुछ साइड इफेक्ट आ जाता है. In the same way, this side effect came in our concrete called calcium hydroxide. And so you wanted to remove the confusion of this warrior Arjuna. You wanted to tell him that they are your enemies and you are strong. And who does that? This is done by the pozzolanic action. And that's why you suddenly see so much of fly ash and GGBFS and microsilica coming into concrete today. And all this happened since year 1990. Uh, when the cement technologists all over the world discovered that you need to bring this silica, a reactive silica, to your concrete. So what do you do? From where will you get this reactive silica in your concrete? And if you go to a thermal power station where coal is burned to produce electricity, they found that you have this waste product called fly ash. So this is a typical thermal power station. Let's see how it is. So this is a power station where you bring in coal, you grind it, and you take it to the furnace. When it goes to the furnace, all the carbon present in the coal, it burns off. As all the carbon burns off, whatever is left behind from that burning of the coal, is pure silica and alumina. This is that silica and alumina which has got the temperature of the furnace. So when the coal is burning in a furnace, the temperature of the furnace is 1200 degrees centigrade temperature. And because of this high temperature, this silica and alumina in fly ash, it becomes reactive. It becomes reactive, and if you collect it, this fly ash, and if you bring it to concrete, then that silica you can see is in our pozzolanic action. So pozzolanic action is what? Pozzolanic action is this reactive silica which is you are finding it in fly ash. And jokingly I say that when you compare your cement manufacturing process, how is your cement manufacturing process? In cement manufacturing, you bring limestone, you bring siliceous clay, you burn them, you get clinker, you grind the clinker, you get cement. So cement manufacturing is a simple two-step process: burning, grinding, and you get cement. Right now, what is the temperature in your kiln when you are burning the raw material? Surprise, same 1200 degrees which is inside your furnace in your thermal power station. And because that 1200 degrees temperature creates cement, this 1200-degree temperature in your power station creates reactive silica and alumina. So jokingly I say that all our thermal power stations are nothing but a cement manufacturing factory, where a cement called fly ash is produced and electricity is a byproduct. So we all should start getting electricity free of cost, right? But then you will have to pay for fly ash the price of cement. Today in India, when we say the price of cement is almost 6,000 to 6,500 rupees per ton, or 320 to 350 rupees a bag. And you are getting fly ash right from 2,000 rupees a ton to, if you go to a good quality fly ash like Dirk Pozzocrite, you can go up to 3,000, 3,500 rupees a ton. So cement is still double the price of fly ash when fly ash is doing this great job. So that was the starting point all over the world, that you need to get this pozzolanic material which has got silica and alumina in it. The difference between GGBFS and fly ash, there is a small difference. What is the difference? Let me check it here. So the difference between fly ash, we call it pozzolanic, and GGBFS we call it is a hydraulic material. What is the difference? Anyone can tell me what is 3CH? I think we covered that. What is a hydraulic material? GGBFS is hydraulic and fly ash is pozzolanic. Can anybody tell me why we call GGBFS hydraulic? I will keep this question unanswered. I will not answer it. Maybe at the end, और आपको तब तक उसका जवाब देना है. Fly ash को pozzolanic क्यों कहते हैं? Why we call it GGBFS, a hydraulic material? By the way, Mr. Sanjay Karne is here, who has done a great job in Dirk when Pozzocrete was manufactured and marketed. It is still being done, and Sanjay, I believe, now is in Gulf, but he's one of the real experts when it comes to Pozzocrete. Okay, let's go ahead. So we discussed about generation of fly ash. I am still waiting for answer why Yogesh is saying react with water. Okay, very good, very good. Who else? Who else can give me some different answer? Why fly ash is pozzolanic and GGBFS is hydraulic? Okay, we covered this slide also. Uh, the destruction of our concrete, जोकिंगली हम कहते हैं कि ब्रिटिश के टाइम के जमाने की देखो बिल्डिंग आज भी कितनी स्ट्रांग है, एंड व्हाट हैज हैपेंड टू अवर कंक्रीट टुडे. सो इफ यू क्रिएट कंक्रीट ओनली विथ ओपीसी without taking help of reactive silica and alumina coming in your concrete, okay, so if you just do that, then you are going to have issues. And just today I read a brilliant article. uh, Yes, ability to react with water and ambient conditions. Great answer, Free Soul. Yes, great. So if you do concrete only with OPC, what does happen then? In that case, your RCPT value starts going up. So what is a RCPT value? So we do a rapid chloride penetration test, and in concrete, so you give some salinity. So you take, let's say, a concrete sample, and then you expose it to salty water, and then you try to pass. Sunit ji, yes, it has cementitious properties, right? So when you try to pass electric current through that salt solution which is inside your concrete, and then you measure how much electric current has gone in this concrete, and you measure it, current is measured in coulombs, right? So RCPT value is measured in coulombs. And just I mentioned today, I was linked in a nice article on LinkedIn, uh, that somebody has tried to design a concrete for 500 years. Now we all will not be there to check that, right, whether it is standing, but that is the kind of thinking which is going behind, even in India today, to create a durable concrete. And one of the ways, RCPT is not a very sure shot test, unfortunately. You get some variable results for the same sample, but more or less you get the idea. So RCPT, if you can get it below 800 coulombs, the current which is passing in your concrete below 800 coulombs, then you can say that the concrete can reasonably have a life of beyond 100 years. So much research is still going on in this field. In the field of concrete, we are never an expert, we are never the greatest master, we all are always students. My guru in concrete technology, Professor MS Shetty, probably he is going to come on YouTube live on Wednesday. Okay, so coming Wednesday there is going to be an interview with Professor MS Shetty. He's 91 years old today. पता नहीं हम उतना जिएंगे भी नहीं 91, and he is still active. आज भी वो concrete के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, and I number of times I have interesting conversations, long, 1 hour on telephone. He has gone back to Mangalore and he stays at Mangalore now, but very sharp mind. We all know, we studied his book, right? Concrete Technology by Professor MS Shetty. Now he's going to come live on our YouTube channel on coming Wednesday at 8 p.m. So all of you don't miss it. Normally my Wednesday session is only 30 minutes, right? Last Wednesday we saw about standard deviation. I'm sure you must have enjoyed it. So this Wednesday, it is not going to be 30 minutes, because once he starts speaking, we don't want to stop him. He's so much, a great powerhouse of knowledge on concrete technology. He says that even at age of 91, even today, he is the student of concrete, and every day he is learning new things. He cannot read very well now. His eyesight has become weak, but he tries to go to YouTube and see some videos and try to keep updated on the knowledge. Great man, and I'm blessed that I got opportunity, to work with him. But some other day I will share those stories about working with Professor Shetty. So we are always learning, and we are never the great master. We are always student of this great subject of concrete. And today it seems that we can design a concrete more than 100 years, provided you keep the coulomb value below 800. How you do that is not only use OPC, but along with that, you use GGBFS 70%, you use fly ash 30 to 35%, use microsilica, reduce the water to cement ratio. And I'll tell you, in year 1995, when I was working on a great project, Mumbai Marine Outfalls, when the reinforcement was coated with epoxy, and epoxy coated reinforcement was used. Few projects it is done today also. So that was the philosophy at that time, but over the period it changed. It is like I am sitting in this room and you want to protect me from some attack. So one way is I will keep a gun in my hand, and anyone comes, I will shoot him. That is one way I will protect him. That is how the epoxy solution, coating of reinforcement with epoxy. But that's not the thinking today. The thinking today is you close all the doors and windows of this room so tightly that no enemy will come inside your room. And that is the thinking we have for protection of reinforcement steel, protection of your concrete. You stop the environmental agents at the gate of your concrete, so that there are no pathways, no calcium hydroxide leaching out, no pathways for them. concrete becomes watertight. How you measure the concrete is watertight Coulomb value. How you achieve the Coulomb value? Pozzolanic material like fly ash, hydraulic material like GGBFS, microsilica, ultrafine material. Kulkarni sir has also joined. Thank you, sir, for coming here. So we go ahead and we look at. I have a great story to tell you about this ball bearing effect. And looking at the time, I'm taking too much time of all of us. I will skip this story, and tomorrow early, as we begin the session, I will share the story of ball bearing effect with you. Not today, because I have not yet reached the career breakthrough secret formula and how we will finish by 7:30, including question and answer. So let's keep that story for tomorrow. Now we come to fly ash classification. So this is a way, when this fly ash comes from thermal power station, there are various sizes in this fly ash. All of us know 45 micron is what the fineness of fly ash should be, maximum below 45 micron. If you get it a fly ash, 10% retention, 90% passing, 45 micron, wow, great. Only one company I know, Dirk Pozokrit, who are doing that great job. No one else, I think, is supplying that. But yes, there is ultrafine fly ash now available, but you achieve it through grinding. Again, a very deep subject. At this point, just remember, you can put a classifier and you can process the fly ash by physically separating the particles. So fine particle will go in this chamber, coarse particle will go in that chamber. Okay, physical classification through air velocity. So when you move the particles at a very high speed in a classification system, all the particles are separated based on their sizes, and you can actually collect the fine fly ash. How much we want? 10%. Forget about 10%. Practical नहीं है तो बात करके क्या फायदा है? But if you get a fly ash below 15% retention on 45 micron, 85% passing 45 micron, you can create a great concrete. You can have fantastic replacement levels. But even if you don't have such a fine fly ash, let's say you have a 25% retention fly ash, even in that case, my request to all of you is don't use fly ash below 30%. Keep it more than 30% without sacrificing your early strengths, without sacrificing your de-shuttering time. So we all can do that, and still you can achieve your final 28 days time. Tomorrow's session not possible, but on third day we will try to take an actual mix where quality of fly ash is not so great. ROS is 25%, and at 35%. Yes, sir. I'm discussing about the same point. Even if it is unprocessed fly ash, no processing, you have ROS 25%, still try to use it at 30% level, because fly ash has some great hidden benefits. What are they? Let's go ahead and see, even if the fly ash is slightly coarse. But before I do go there, here are some challenges that all of us have with fly ash. First is this inconsistent quality, because there is only one company in the whole country who is processing fly ash. This, why it happened? Such a beautiful resource, this fly ash, and why this has happened, that there is only one company in India who can give you this top quality fly ash. So this German person, Mr. George Dirk, he came to India in the year 2000. And at that time, he came and met the chief minister of Maharashtra at that time. And he got a lot of help from state government, because he was looking at Europe, where so much fly ash was used in concrete and producing great structures. The Channel Tunnel between France and UK, 37% fly ash used in 90s. And in India, so much fly ash was lying around, nobody was using it. So he looked at it as a business opportunity. So he came to India, entered an agreement with state government, and set up a processing plant at Nashik, fly ash processing plant. Because he had a long contract, 30-year contract, he could invest money, crores of rupees, in a thing called fly ash, which was a waste. Could you do that? Go to a new country, a third world country coming from Europe, and invest in a technology and spend crores of rupees to produce a product which people have not even heard of, using fly ash in concrete. But he did all that, and fly ash got a great name in our country. Yes, you need to use this product. But then, somebody thought in government that why this person is earning so much profit taking fly ash at such a low price, etc., etc. So this is a long story, and I don't want to get into it. This is not a platform for speaking that, but that is how the fly ash supply became limited, the processed fly ash supply, which came out from the company Dow. So today, they get limited amount of fly ash, and then they have to process it. So the fly ash price has also gone up. But let's not get into all that. The problem because of that is there is only one company in India. Also, you can't order huge volumes because they don't have huge volumes. So inconsistent quality. So we have to live with. And what can I do now? Now I have a batching plant, and I have this inconsistent quality of fly ash coming. How should I design my mix? We'll look at that also. The second problem is the low early strength, particularly in cold climates. Boss, Europe say to we are much better, but even we know that now the temperatures are around 10 degrees in many cities. And how do you handle this problem? That if I use too much fly ash, 30%, 35%, I will not get early strengths. What do? We have to look at that as well. The curing demand, the concrete curing, because it is delayed CSH gel now. Remember, the secondary CSH gel, because you are using this SiO2 coming from fly ash and you are reducing OPC content. So 100% OPC की जगह पे you are now adding 70% and 30% is fly ash. So the curing of the concrete has to be done properly for 10 days. There cannot be any shortcut for curing of concrete. Friends, I remember it still happens in our country. Uh, it still happens in our country that the concreting is done, the slab casting is done at night, and it is like a big job done, जैसे बहुत बड़ा तीर मारा है, and everybody has a party, it's a major event, everybody goes home late. Next day morning, the supervisor would come slightly late. Why? Because concreting done कल रात को 11 बजे तक 12 बजे तक we were working, so he comes late 10 11 o'clock. Then he tries to find a mason, then the ponding arrangement is done, and then the first drop of water through ponding, that pipe watering is useless on slab, comes at 1 o'clock, and only at 1 o'clock the concrete gets water. So on the first day, the concrete is like a small baby just born child. Will you keep your just born child out in the sun on the first day? We will never do it. Therefore, whenever you are doing concreting, please ensure that you send your best mason early. 6 o'clock you should go home, you should come early 7 o'clock next day morning. Keep all the ponding arrangement ready, so that by the time the first ray of sun comes on your concrete, it is covered with water. Now with fly ash, when early strength is not there in your concrete, this early curing is so important. Early curing also till 10 days, right? So we all need to take care of this curing aspect. The fourth problem is perception of users. I know today, because I work with number of ready mix plants as an advisor, that customer says, "Arey, you are going to use fly ash, give me rate discount," something like that. That is an unfortunate perception the users have. Actually, what we are looking here, we want to design our concrete for 100 years of life. So we want to use fly ash, we want to use GGBFS, right? And uh, the customer is asking for rate discount. So this perception also we need to fight. So here is a way to fully utilize fly ash to high potential. So I will cover these 4 points now, because we have to cover still another many things, and actual mix we will try to take on the third day. But let's concentrate now how you will use high volume fly ash in your concrete. So high replacement levels, I said, keep it 30%, keep it 30%. Okay, your total cementations might slightly go up, okay, but still it would be an economic concrete for you and a great concrete for your client. Okay, so you will take care of lot of issues, pumpability issues, the heat of hydration coming out, the traffic in metro cities. You are producing concrete somewhere, you have to transport it somewhere else, you have to pump the concrete for 10-story high. So all your working issues will be taken care of. Your cost will also come down. So the big boss will be happy, saving money, 30% fly ash. Total cementatious will slightly go up, but still it will not cross that the concrete will become expensive. It will not become expensive, and the customer would be happy. So high replacement levels, 30% fly ash. You want any help, you can always email to me with your mix design, and I can give you such, I will give you suggestion how to design your concrete for 30%. Even if you want have a requirement for early strength, early decentering, we can achieve that also, 1 day strength. Second way to fully utilize fly ash is always focus on your water to cement ratio. Try to bring it down as possible. That then your 30% fly ash is going to be workable. Let's not spend too much time at this now, 7 o'clock already. Then high end PC. Use a high end PC, a good quality, a polycarboxylate plasticizer. Don't go for cheap. In the end, you are going to save money. If you use a good PC, what will happen? Even for grade M35, use a good PC. What will happen? Your cementatious content will come down. And of course, if you have high early strength requirement or a high strength, then you can go through the way of microsilica. This is an interesting question. So let me take it now. What is your opinion on combination of 35% fly ash and crushed sand, 15%? Okay. Now, now this crushed sand using in concrete, and I designed a complete video module on that, and I will try to share it with you. So I call it ball bearing concrete, and we will discuss about ball bearing concrete, about the ball bearing effect of fly ash and the crushed sand problem today. Tomorrow, as I said that slide, the first thing in tomorrow's session is we will discuss about the crush sand, the ball bearing effect, and the pumpability and all those issues. Okay, so please allow me to go ahead. Naphtha base, no. If you want to use 30% fly ash and you have high strength requirement, please try to use PC based plasticizer. Okay, naphtha, is it impossible? No, but why make your life difficult?